Hello, welcome to my life on paper. I am Brianna and I am so glad you are here. I am playing along with the Iron Crafter Challenge today. It is Brad's buttons, eyelets, and more. And we're encouraged to use those. And also, may I scrap lift you? Today, I am scrap lifting Jessica Haab, who is Kids to Scrap on Instagram, and I will have that linked below. I have the layout that I am scrap lifting up in the left upper corner. This is a stash busting layout. Okay, most of my layouts are stash busting, but this one I went into the depths. So I have a printable from Nicole Jones 911. It is this lovely viewfinder. It's huge, and I decided I didn't want that stark white of the viewfinder, so I take this ink, and it is Uncharted Mariner, and then I go around and get the white spots blue. Right there, I'm seeing, do I have to ink it all the way around? Should I cut it in half? And I decide, yep, I'm going to cut it in half. I'm going to use both sides on this layout, so I'll keep going with the blue. The pennants or the banners in the left upper corner I had used on a different page and I stamped too many, so I'm using those. It's a very similar blue color. I already have some cut apart, oh, right there, some cut apart cards. Sometimes when I cut them apart, it's got a little bit of different color on them, so I'm trimming that off. But I'm going to cut that in half diagonally, and I am going to use part in the left upper corner, part in the left lower corner. And then I have this, and I believe that is from Creative Memories. I can't be totally sure. It's been in my stash for a while, so again, I'm going to use part of that in the right upper corner and part in the left lower corner. And you can see that when I'm layering those, like you can see some of the, I don't know, the edge peek out, some of the rough corner that you don't want showing. So I'm going to fix that later. On the left side there, you can see all those containers. Those are all metal pieces and mostly brads, some clips. I don't think there's any eyelets in that bunch, although I do have eyelets. So once I pulled this together, okay, so the background paper is just from old paper pad. Um, there's birds on the sheet on the in the background page, but it was one of two background pieces, or one of two full sheets of paper, and the other one was exactly the same. So I'm like dove in and I'm like, I'm using this. Um, and then so once I pulled out these colors, I really like this dark, I think it's like a dark coppery, but it's really like a distressed bronzy, yeah, bronzy, that's what I'll call it, color. So I picked out the photo corners, the arrows there, and then I have about 8 big brads that you saw there, like big flat top circle brads. And I'm going to get 7 of those on my page, along with the arrow corner pieces. So I'm going to get my layers glued down. You can see that I've got my pieces on the right hand side, those strips. I did not cut those at all. No, I shouldn't say that. The brown one, the dark brown one, I did cut because it had a hole. It had the hanging hole in it, so I trimmed that off. But other than that, I've left the other 3 pieces the same. And that border sticker on the right hand side there, the blue one, that is Creative Memories, and I'll be using that in a moment. I'm just getting my the background pieces layered. Now, I will bring in a couple more pieces. I wasn't sure how many layers I wanted to do, and I could have kept layering it up, but I didn't want to bring in more shades of blue, so I left those out. I've already glued that viewfinder to the back of the picture. Here's where I am going to lay down my strips. I did distress them with my scissors lately to choose out which papers I'm going to use. I kind of think of like, what is the oldest stuff I have that would make sense and would go. And I was thinking with, oh, I didn't tell you about the pictures. With these pictures that, um, it would be nice to have like the neutral colors, and that's where I went to my Iris Neutral papers. We have a brewery in town that my husband and I like to go to every once in a while. They don't have food there, however, they have food trucks at times. So, oftentimes on I don't know, Saturday or Sunday afternoon, we might go down there and try out one of their beer and try out some food. So that's what these are pictures of. Um, I wasn't sure what I was gonna do for a title. That says "You Are My World," which Daryl is my world, but I just wasn't sure that that was really going with the vibe of the layout. I do have this uh It's not yarn, it's not fiber. We'll call it fiber. It's a couple shades of blue, and I've had it for absolutely forever. So I'm using that to string the banners on. Once I get the banners laid out, they're a little bit, uh, I need to overlap them in order to make them fit on the page. So that's what I'm doing there. And then, oh, so I'm gonna, I can't find my weeder tool. It's somewhere on my messy desk. So that's what I would usually use to make a hole, but I used my scissors, and I'm just going through just what I matted the picture with, so I don't have to go in through layers of layers, and then I can lay that down. While I was pulling out those 8 round brads, I found these 2 tags that are brads, and they're just laying between the banners because I'm kind of deciding if I want to use them or not. And this is where I go into my brown items, and I'm just pulling out stuff randomly. I might use it, I might not, but I knew I needed more stuff to use on my layout. I needed embellishments. So this is the next thing I do is go for the brown. And once I don't think that I have enough brown and blue things, I go to I call it pattern, but it's my multicolor embellishments box. And from there, I will usually get some kind of inspiration, whether it's I find brown things that got stuck in there because it's part of something else. I hope that makes sense. Or if I can use a multicolor, maybe I could find a blue and a brown, and instead of putting it in blue or brown, I stuck it in the pattern box. And what I discovered was these basically squares. Um, they're close to my heart. They're very old, and they do have a little bit of green with them, but I think from what I pull from them, you don't notice the green. So it really looks like the brown and the blue. These stickers were actually from like a card kit for Close to My Heart, but I kind of save everything and don't throw anything away. So I'm finally finding a use for these. And it's gonna take up a lot of space. Okay, so I strung the string through the brad tags, and then next I decide I'm going to um, put the other brads on, the ones that are circular. So and I can't find, well, I shouldn't say I can't find it. I didn't really look for my weeder is what I usually use to poke holes in my paper. So like if I'm doing brads, and I just use my scissors, and I'm using the mat to kind of line them up. So I start in the middle, 6, and then I go out to the 3 and 9, and then I figure out I should go in every 1.5 inches because I didn't start off doing a lot of math. And I have one left over. So I think I start with 8 and I use 7. I think that's a big win. And I have a lot more metal brads that I could be using, but that's for another day. That's why I like, okay, so the Iron Crafter Challenge is we are given an assignment of what we're supposed to be using, and it was brads, eyelets, beads was the one I couldn't think of. Or sequins is the other one. I did not use sequins, but I could have. I didn't use eyelets either. I really had a lot of brads. I probably could have used a lot more brads, but these are the ones that were that bronze kind of coppery, rustic color. Now there are no tags in the original layout, but I came across this tag, and so I took 2 of them and layered them on top of each other. The blue tag says who, what, and where, which I thought is good for journaling. And then I always journal later, and so if I need more space for journaling, it's very usual that I'll pull out some more paper to make a journaling spot. And I've got the title that says Life is Magical, and I had the brown kind of scallop in my stash, so I'm using that behind. And then there was this little tag that had a bird on it, but I tucked the bird in so you won't see that. And there's a little tiny sticker on the title that is, again, it's just like a close to my heart thing that I don't throw away, so that got stuck on there. I did have this bee, the circular bee out, and that's just not going to work anywhere on the paper. And I don't even know why I brought the bee out once I had all these squares down. So I will start figuring out where I'm going to put these squares. I try to pull out each one of the different um, designs, and these poor Viewmasters do really get covered up, the bottom one more so than the top one, but like I said, it will take up a lot of space. You can see there's a punched border there. It's like butterflies, I believe, and a scallop. I do not use that. And I did put that scallop circle, like half of it in the beige color there, and I'm gonna pretty much cover that up. But I'm okay with that. I wanted to get more of these squares on there, and now I'm trying to figure out where I can add more squares. Funny enough, it really looks like I planned out these colors because that we were outside on a picnic table and the picnic table is green. So we got the definitely have the blue and the brown, and then the little bit of green in the stickers certainly matches with that green picnic table. So I went over the viewfinder on the bottom. On the top, I'm going to go out around the outside so that you can see some of it, or you wouldn't see any of the viewfinder. And then I'm going to oh, and then so those stickers come with these little, they almost, I mean, they kind of remind you of enamel dots. So I will put what I'm going to call enamel dots into two different clusters. And then I'm looking at this right side. So this is where when I uh, did the matting on the photos, it kind of didn't match up. So you can see these points like hanging out. So I covered them up with a couple of things from my stash. I added one of those squares, and then I'm going to add a couple of those enamel dot looking stickers. And that completes my layout. So until next time, may your memories always have a home on paper.